So, the term dark money, what does it mean? Well, essentially, it is money that we don't know where it's coming from. It is given in sort of the political sense to a political party or comes from a group or a lobby group, and you don't know the true source of where that money has particularly come from. And one of the things that have seen increasingly, increasingly over the past, well, really decade or so, very much so in line with when the Conservatives came to power, was the flow of American dark money across the transatlantic, flowing from America for some very, very libertarian groups and causes, and flowing into sort of conservative pockets and influencing the way of conservative thinking, and in some cases radicalizing it to some extreme extents. And our current government, with Liz Truss, the fact that you've got the ERG, one of the most right-wing governments we have had in a long, long time. In fact, in all of the UK government's really political history, a lot of that dark money is responsible for our current state and the current government. And if you are someone who is a member of the Conservative Party, you should be concerned about this as well. Because if this libertarian, money has come flowing across the channel and is now influencing your political party from it being a, conservative party, trying to transform it into very much a right-wing libertarian party, which we'll get into a moment, then yeah, you should probably be very, very worried by this influence as well. And it's something you should be speaking up about as well. Because there's a lot of upset people in the Conservative Party who are sort of very moderate in their, in their thinking. But when it comes to what they've seen a lot of, Liz Truss say, and even Rishi Sunak, they were very, very disappointed. And you saw that in the Conservative results in the leadership contest recently by the amount of people who didn't vote, who could have voted, but just chose not to because they couldn't bring themselves to vote for either candidate. So that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to the current state of, our Conservative Party that seems to me to be very, very much in thrall to these American dark money interests. So before we go further into discussing this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, there is the YouTube thank you button down below as well, where you can support the channel that way. And of course, there is the YouTube subscription as well called the Pony Club, where if you join that, you get badges, emojis, and you get a one-off, you get a super chat as well per month as well when you sign up to that. And of course, for both Patreon and the Pony Club users, I'm now doing a weekly video for all you guys as well. So make sure you watch those and also get access to all of them when you sign up to them. So, what is this? First of all, why should you be concerned about a lot of this? Well, libertarian nonsense. Well, first part, let's discuss the economics of it. This right-wing libertarian nonsense that is being sold and pushed by a lot of these these interest groups is basically, look, just cut taxes to absolutely nothing, and it's full-on classic arguments that we've seen before of trickle-down economics. Look, if you're not taxing the rich, well, then that means all their money is just going to trickle down to below, and that's how it works. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. We've seen currently both Truss and Katang both say that they're going to lower corporate tax rates. Well, here's the thing. Ireland, I think, has had the lowest corporate tax rate for years. And according to their ideology, Ireland should be absolutely booming. It should be an economic powerhouse. But isn't, because it hasn't really brought forward the benefits of what these, libertarians were arguing for. And in many cases, when you've seen countries follow these right-wing libertarian paths, it hasn't really worked out and they've ended up being reversed. But of course, their argument always is that, oh, they didn't really follow the true libertarian path, or oh, they didn't really follow through. They toyed with it, but they didn't really follow through. So that's always their excuse. But on then, the main thing they really want to do is deregulation. And let's face it, regulation, why do you regulate things? Because there are certain things that should be regulated. Safety should absolutely be regulated. If you're a company that uses dangerous chemicals or things like that, absolutely, you should be regulated to, first of all, not only protect your workers, protect the environment, and protect potentially other people's public health in the area with you using those public, those things. And that goes from all ranges of workers' rights, safety in creating products, to stop companies, cutting corners. That's why we have, regulations. But then you have deregulations. And let's say it now, there are out there legitimate arguments to deregulating certain sectors or certain laws. I will accept that there are perfectly good arguments out there for deregulation. Planning, you've seen the Conservative Party have a massive internal battle about loosening the planning regulations so that they can build sort of more houses on green belts. But their own sort of core constituency down in the blue wall has massively revolted against that. So, that's sort of one example. But there are, I'm perfectly sure, good, reasonable arguments for deregulation. But the problem is, these libertarians do not want or are making, shall we say, reasonable arguments for deregulation, because their argument is there should be no regulation. That the government should not be involved in this at all. It should not regulate the markets, it should not regulate businesses, and it has no business telling a company or a company owner how they get to run or even treat their workers. And it is more all the worrying the fact that we have both Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng, who are, authors of the now infamous book Britannia Unchained, which made all these arguments for deregulation. And there's a big push for what is called liberal shock therapy. That if you can get the government to do this shock therapy and shock the system, that this will be short-term pain, but it will bring you a long-term gain. And this is the liberal economic argument that these dark money groups and even, Truss and Kwarteng were making in Britannia Unchained. So it is very, very worrying that we have this group in charge with so much power to be able to do this. And it's not just things with the economy as well. It's also abortion. I've warned a lot of people on this channel several times to say, hey, they're coming for abortion rights in Europe next. And it's not just here in the UK, but it is in places like Ireland and the rest of Europe as well. They are coming, make no mistake. So you need to be careful, even if you don't live in sort of, the UK, if you live in, the Netherlands, France, wherever else, you need to be careful, because these money groups are coming after abortion laws in Europe as well, because they've sort of succeeded in America, and they need for Europe to overturn its abortion laws as well for it to stick. And they know that. That's why there is a lot of dark money coming from America into sort of anti-abortion causes and groups here in Europe. So be aware. Be very aware of what is going on. And the fact that you've got Theresa Coffey, someone who is very, very anti-abortion, as Secretary for Health, yeah, it's all the more worrying. And this is why these dark money groups need to be brought into the light. They need to be held accountable, and we need to know where this money is coming from and exactly who is giving it. Because as I said at the start, I'm a member of the Labour Party. Part of, So technically, I give money to the Labour Party. I've got no problems, as I said at the beginning, explaining why I'm giving money to the Labour Party. So people who give money to political causes should be brought out into the light and have to explain why they are giving money. And if it is to influence the party, well, fine. Be open about it. Don't hide away. Say exactly what it is you want. But of course, that will then obviously raise some serious concerns. And maybe the Conservatives don't want that. And if you are a member of the Conservative Party, as we said, you should be just as concerned about this influence that these dark money groups are having over your party, just as people sort of like me are having about it, on what it is having on our politics as well, and potentially over the next 2 years, what Truss and Katang are going to do in these libertarian crazy mindsets, which could radically destroy whole parts and swathes of our economy, just to pursue a fantasy idea, which a lot of economists are already warning is not going to bring these massive benefits that they are, talking about. So as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button on your way out. And of course, we'll see you all next time.